Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Joining us now is OjyOkpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Jinex.
You know, I'm happy to see you. How are you
Thank
this
God
morning?
it's Friday.
TGIF. How are you this morning? We missed you yesterday, Dr. Abati.
I was otherwise engaged.
You were, and you did very well.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Good morning, Ayo. How are you this beautiful Friday morning? You know, it's
happy that
it's the best day of the week for me. Good morning, Rufy on fire. Well, all right. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Let's begin what's trending with reactions trailing the response by the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, who in a video post on X responded to criticism over the federal government's plan to deploy 20 trillion naira of pension funds for infrastructure development in Nigeria. Edun stated in the video message uploaded by the ministry that the federal government has no intention to illegally access the fund. Well, let's take a look before we take some reactions.
It has come to my notice that there are stories making the rounds that the federal government plans to illegally access the hard-earned savings and pension contributions of workers. Nothing could be further from the truth. The pension industry, like most of the financial industry, is highly regulated. There are rules, there are limitations about what pension money can be invested in and what it cannot be invested in. The federal government has no intention whatsoever to go beyond those limits and go outside those bounds, which are there to safeguard the pensions of workers. Now, what was announced to the Federal Executive Council, merely for noting, merely for information, no approval was sought for any action whatsoever, was that there was an ongoing initiative drawing in all the major stakeholders in the long-term savings industry, those that handle funds that are available over a long period, to see how within the rules, within the regulations and the laws, these funds could be used maximally, most effectively, to drive investment in key growth areas.
All right, Dr. Abati, we discussed this particular story on what's trending yesterday. The Minister of Finance was also responding to Atiku Abubakar's tweet yesterday, telling the federal government not to touch the funds. I was hoping that this will be an opportunity for, Wale Edun to actually tell us how the funds will be deployed, because a lot of the criticism was, based on that actual aspect. Let me read some part of Atiku Abubakar's tweet again. He wrote yesterday, I think it was Wednesday, the federal government must not act contrary to the provisions of the extant regulation on investment limits to which pension funds can invest no more than 5% of total pension funds assets in infrastructure investments. I note that as of December 2023, total pension fund assets were approximately 18 trillion naira, of which 75% of these are investments in FGN securities. There is no free pension funds that is more than 5% of the total value of the nation's pension fund for Mr. Edun to fiddle with. I mean, this was one of the requests from Atiku Abubakar. And, I believe what basically the Minister of Finance has reiterated here is that, the federal government will not violate the funds, which we're hoping and we're praying that will not be issued. But Rufai here yesterday was screaming, please don't touch our pension fund. Yes. But of course, Nigerians will also react to Wale Edun because they're saying that his response is not robust enough. Let me take Ben's tweet. He wrote, "This doesn't make sense at all. You wasted 90 billion naira on fruitless Hajj trip and started a super inflated, unfunded 1 trillion coastal road project that lacks transparency. Now you are suffocating already struggling workers by tapping into their lifetime savings. Pension funds are supposed to be triple locked Let the workers breathe. And this option should just be taken off the table completely. Dr. Abati, over to you. We also discussed, the issue of Tinubu approving 90 billion naira for that Hajj travel. I'd like for you to quickly just analyze some of those reactions.
Start with a quick one.
Yes.
It's about the approval of 90 billion naira to sponsor persons to go to Hajj.
Yes.
Now, the problem we have in this country is that we're very hypocritical when it comes to religion. The Constitution of Nigeria at Section 10 thereof is very clear. It says the federation or a state in any part of the federation shall not adopt any religion as state religion. The operative word here is shall. It's a command. It's not an advice. Okay, but in spite of this, you'll find government at federal level and state levels, sponsoring pilgrimages either to Jerusalem and Mecca. And it got to such a ridiculous point that, in fact, people are neither Christian nor Muslims started agitating that they too should be sent on pilgrimage, whether to India or to China or to any shrine in any part of the world.
Yes.
Because they say what is good for the goose is good for the gander. But for a government that says we respect the rule of law, Section 10 of the 1999 Constitution is the most violated section of the Constitution. When government tells you Nigeria is a secular state, and yet they are devoting 90 billion to send people to Mecca. Very soon, Christians too will say they want to go to Jerusalem. If they don't make up to 90 billion available, then there will be problems. Because Christians will say, you can't give Muslims 90 billion and you don't give us 90 billion. Now, Mr. Atedo Peterside has been quoted as responding to this. And he says, it's very strange that a government that says it wants to correct the mistakes of the past administration is committing the same mistake. And yes, while he understands that, religion is a personal privilege, but our government should not use public funds. A government that says it's looking for revenue, a government that says it wants to plug leakages, is doing exactly the same thing. And it's not only according to him, with regard to sponsorship of pilgrimages, that in other areas also, we have seen the government doing exactly what, he criticized the Buhari administration for. At a point, I think it was the Buhari administration that came up and said, well, the job of the Pilgrims Commission will be restricted to providing consular services. Yeah. That is assisting people who are traveling to either Israel or Saudi Arabia with visa processing and all of that, interfacing diplomatically. But we have seen that nobody has taken that seriously. Maybe the time has come when we should begin to advocate for the abolition, for the repeal of the sections of the laws, creating the National Hajj Commission, creating the National Pilgrims Commission, creating the National Christian Commission Act. Maybe if there is no legal backing, maybe then nobody will be able to say we want to support pilgrims. Politicians do it for political reasons. It's a way of settling people who support them, and that is the hypocrisy. The state should have no business with religion. Absolutely. They should focus on governance. As for the explanation by Mr. Wale Edun, he actually said that the 20 trillion will be used to provide 20 million housing units and provide mortgage, loans for persons who need houses, and that will be at the rate of 12% over a period of about 5 years. And that then it states the rules, that the extant rules will be obeyed. In the regulation, in terms of investments that Waziri Atiku Abubakar was referring to, I quoted earlier on that it's section 8.0, 8.1, 8.2, talking about the percentage that will be available. But Nigerians are skeptical. Each time anybody says they want to use pension funds and invest, because since 2015, we have been having problems with pensions. In 2015, 4 persons were arraigned for stealing 15 billion. In 2021, the EFCC said over 192 billion have been stolen from pension funds. In November 2021, some persons were convicted and sentenced, for stealing 2.1 billion of pension funds. So Waziri Atiku Abubakar, the organized labor, they are protesting against the background that pensioners are poorly served, either by the federal government or by the state government, and yet the objective of the Pension Reforms Act of 2014 is to make life better for pensioners. But pensioners are still growing. They've not benefited from that transition from defined benefits to contributory scheme because people who have quick fingers, are mismanaging their funds. And that's why NLC is talking about transparency and accountability and the need to carry all stakeholders along within the pension industry. And pensioners, of course, are saying that, look, don't touch our money. The people who are not yet pensioners are saying, no, don't touch what I'm saving for the rainy day. But in other parts of the world, where there is accountability, pension funds are invested for the benefit of the stakeholders.
All right. Well, let's take another story. The Defense Headquarters on Thursday declared an indigene of the Republic of Niger, Halilu Buzu, wanted for terrorist activities, illegal arms supplies, illegal mining, and cattle rustling, according to the Defense Headquarters. Bazu resides in a forest in Zamfara State and often escapes to Niger after his criminal activities in Nigeria. The Director of Army Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, said the military is working with its counterparts from Niger to ensure the arrest of the terrorists. This is coming as a member representing Zomi Federal Constituency, Bello Hassan Shikamfi, raised the alarm that over 500 residents have been kidnapped by terrorists in Zamfara State. Well, I reached out to the Zamfara spokesman, the spokesman for the Zamfara State governor, and he told me that, this rumor has been trending since Tuesday, and that, the amount is not 500, and it's a rumor. But I also reached out to Edward Buba so that he can, respond to those allegations as well. But, it's a good thing that the Defense Headquarters has released that information about the terrorist from Niger. And that Zamfara State has been a hotspot. But before we discuss, I'd like to for bandit activities or terrorist activities, I'd like to take this video. In the meantime, the Defense Headquarters released a video on Thursday showing troops of the Nigerian army in high spirits and ready to defend Nigeria. Let's take a look. Any opportunity I get to praise the Nigerian army, I do. Well, kudos to all the work that they've been doing so far. They released a statement yesterday saying that, the Nigerian troops have killed 227 terrorists, apprehended 529, and rescued 253 kidnapped victims in ground, air, and air operations across the country in just 1 week. Kudos to the Nigerian military, but we need answers. So I'm waiting for answers about, the number of people that have been kidnapped in Zamfara State, because we also had the amateur video trending all over social media, but apparently that has been circulating since 2022, and those are not, residents of Zamfara State. But meanwhile, in Yobe State, the government has launched a spiritual warfare against insurgents who destroy electricity towers connecting the state and Borno to the national grid. Well, according to the Yola Electricity Distribution Company, the insurgents had been attacking electricity installations and plunging the state into darkness. On Wednesday, the governor of the state, Mai Mala Buni, led a team of Muslim clerics to the site of the towers, where they recited the Quran and asked God to punish the vandals should they approach the towers ever again. Cows were also sacrificed for Allah to expose the insurgents attacking the towers and their sponsors. Of course, you know, this is my Friday story. I mean, they had to use God. You see this religion, they have to use God. When we have our military there, we have our security forces that can, you know, guard the electricity grid. We're using Allah, our pastor, please.
Well, someone said that it was because of him that the Naira strengthened.
That was Odumeje.
Yeah, so people have been claiming. But I mean, truthfully, when you watch this, you cannot believe that this is TV in 2024.
Yes.
And this is what a governor of a state is doing to address what is clearly a criminal activity, and where we have security agents for that, you know, for that purpose. I think it's quite, number one, it's misleading. Number two, I want to assume that they're going to pay the people who went there to pray. It's a waste of state funds, and also it's a burying the head in the sand approach to addressing a problem in the community. So rather than admitting that, oh, maybe we're not able to handle the insecurity in this area or handle the vandals or the criminals, they then resort to spiritual help. Truth is that Nigeria is a very religious country. We cannot take that away from us. However, when the governor of the state, who is entrusted with protecting the lives and property of the people, then, you know, by this admittance of the failure of the security agencies to secure this critical infrastructure, invites spiritualists to come and pray for the place, then what will people do? And that's why they say that fake religious leaders are prospering, because when you're sick, rather than go to the hospital because the health sector has failed, you go and meet different kinds of people who will give you different kinds of things to ingest for help. When you need help, the mosques and the churches have become welfare centers. So they take on the role of government, and it is quite unfortunate. What I think they should do is actually address the issues.
Absolutely.
These people are not spirits. They are human beings who go there to vandalize this infrastructure.
Yes, Dr. Abati, I know you have something to say, but I'll take this story. Rufai will discuss that, and probably will come back to this spiritual warfare story. I'd love your take on that. We'll take another story, this time in the United Kingdom, where a retired 74-year-old Ghanaian man, Nelson Shade, who has lived in the country for 42 years, has been told that he's not a British citizen and must live in the country for another decade before he could be granted permanent residency by the Home Office. Shade had for many years assumed that he was officially seen as British until his mother's death in 2019, when he had to apply for a passport to attend her funeral in Ghana. And the Home Office told him that he had no right to be in the country. Shade first arrived in the United Kingdom in 1977 to study accountancy on a student visa that also allowed him to work. He's now a retired news agent and had paid taxes all his adult life. He also bought a house and has a mortgage and was never questioned about his citizenship status. Shade had also performed jury service, and in 2007 was given a police award for bravery after tackling a robber who was attacking a delivery man with a baseball bat. Shade is now taking the Home Office to court. His lawyer claims the Home Office should have treated him as an exception because of the length of time he has been in the UK and because of his bravery award and service to the community. Well, I don't know how he would win this case. Rufai, a lot of comments have been on social media regarding this story.
A couple of things. This story looks very wonky to me. Number one, you stayed in the UK for 42 years.
42 years.
Is it that you didn't, go through the process? Because I know the process is you stay for the first close to 10 years. Yeah. You get, I think it's ILR they call it or something. Leave to remain. And after getting leave to remain, that's not your pathway to get to your British visa. So is it that you never requested for a British passport? Because if you don't request for a British passport, you will never be deemed as British. It's as pure and simple as that.
Yeah.
So it's not by, all the good services and all of that, that you did. Yeah, we appreciate you for that. But what did you do as regards the process yourself?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, some country will give you citizenship because of good service. You remember the case of Macron, where the Spider-Man guy that helped rescue a child or something was given honorary citizenship. That was Macron's benevolence.
Yeah,
but you, that was discretionary. But you need to go through the process. So you can't just say now, So in all those 42 years, he never went on holidays? Or
He
what,
never went on
or
holidays.
what pastor that did it?
He's been there for
I
years.
so I think it falls on him.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people too have brought in the
That's-
sentiment of, oh, that's how the UK did with the Windrush generation and all of that. But if he never went to apply, then I don't think he has a very solid case. And that's why they are saying the process now that you've understood is now going through the 10-year cycle.
Yes.
Before they now give you a leave to remain, and you now, apply for the permit. Let's see. If it takes that in court, maybe if a Labour government wants to feel very funky, they might, I don't know what it is, but at the time that the UK is also battling with its net migration challenges and all of that, but it also shows that you should learn to go through the process of things.
10 years, he will be 84 years old by the time he becomes a British citizen. But it's a huge story, and there's a lot of dimensions to it. But I'll take this tweet, Dr. Abati, from Tommy, who wrote, "Man told he is not British after 42 years in UK. This is typical by our Home Office. They allow every Mohammed, Imran and Abdul into our country and boats, and they want to get tough with this gentleman." Your take on this, Dr. Abati?
Well, what his children, two of them who are doing well in the UK are saying is that even if that is the rule, there should be an exception for their father.
Yes.
And that's the matter that his lawyer is pushing, taking the Home Office to court. However, the lesson from this for Nigerians is for people to realize that rules are rules. If you sleep on your rights, I mean, having lived there for 42 years, paying taxes, doing business, being a good citizen, if he had followed due process, there's no doubt that he would have succeeded. But you sleep on your rights and then you come back and blame the state. The kind of thing that people do in Nigeria. Many Nigerians who are in the UK should, their attention should be drawn to this story so that you don't find yourself in a similar situation. As for Yobe State, where Mema Labone is now leading clerics to go and pray at electricity facilities, I mean, that's scandalous. It's the responsibility of the civil defense to protect government facilities in any part. It's not the responsibility of Malams. Now he has taken Malams here. They slaughtered 2 cows. I think he will still have to take Christians. They must have some Christians in Yobe State. They must take them there. And then who is paying for the cow? And are these people going to receive honorarium for going to recite the Quran? And is that money going to come from state coffers in violation of Section 10 that I quoted earlier on this program? So these are the issues. You know, if Mema Labone wants to become a Muslim cleric, when he leaves the position of governor, he might as well, embark on a career as a cleric. But while he's there, he should follow the rule of law.
Absolutely, they slaughtered 2 cows. I thought when I was reading it, I thought I was watching a Nollywood movie, because that's what happens in movies. I mean, there's nothing you won't see in Nigeria. Well, I'd like to thank you all for a great contribution, as always, on What's Trending. I hope you have a great weekend. Well, that's all I have for you guys on What's Trending today. I'll see you all tomorrow.